What it is, y'all, it's your old boy Pilk, and I'm coming back today with more Danmachi. And today we're going to be talking about Familiar Rush enemy number 2, mostly because this is probably going to be the best enemy for me to face. Now, let's just jump into a mock battle and talk about the team to build here, because it actually shocked me how many material killer fire units we have in the game. And to do so, I'm just going to jump in here, and we're going to filter this down. 4-star, fire, and then we're going to come down here and do material killer. Be ready for a shock. I did not realize there were this many. Now, I want to emphasize I don't have Leafia maxed, and I don't even know if I would ever use Leafia on this team. Just because Leafia's SA doesn't really do anything that we would need, so she's not really favorable on this team. That said, Eyes is nuts for this team. They debuff, or say they buff their strength, magic, and physical and magic resistance. She gets 60% per strength, magic, and physical resistance debuff. She gets a crazy good bonus. But also notice here, we've got Kaguya on this team. If you were here for the 3rd anniversary, Kaguya will debuff physical resistance down 60%. Now, it's only one turn, but we only need it one turn. It doesn't really matter. And Aisha is going to buff fire damage 100% for one turn. These units are bonkers. And all 3 of them are material killers. Now, I want to emphasize this. Before we go and do this run, note very carefully that Eyes is only +1. Keep that in mind when you see the numbers that we are going to produce today. Now, I do have a skill flow set, but I'm going to go ahead and negate it for now. And we're going to jump in, and we're just going to do just a neutral run. Just something, just to talk about what you need to do and the differences between them. So we're going to do an AoE run, and then I'm going to do something really interesting here. Okay? So, we're going to do Spotlight. We're going to do skill 2 with Eyes. That's just a better build for her. She gets strength, magic, and 35%, strength and magic 35% and fire attack damage 40% for all allies, so everybody gets that across the board. Kaguya, we're going to do her skill 2, because that's her main buff skill, and also does a physical resistance debuff. Finally, it's physical resistance debuff that is not a fire resistance debuff. Let's see, do we have fire resistance debuff? Fire attack damage 40%. We do not seem to. Let's see. Here we go. Fire resistance down 35% with Eyes. So perfect, because I honestly didn't remember what Eyes did. So, skill 2, skill 2, skill 1, skill 2. Technically, first 3 are skill 2, and Eyes is skill 1. Let's go. Alright. Now, the fun part is, this is one of those matches where we just spam attacks. So, we're going to go ahead and we're going to do skill 1 with Aphrodite there. That's going to buff everybody's AoE damage 35%. And we're going to do skill 1 as well with Aisha. That's her super class attack and removes debuffs on us. That's going to be super handy. We're just going to spam that. Likewise, with Kaguya, we're just going to spam her attack, because that gives her a high fire physical attack and gives her 2 extra actions. But basically, because that's her biggest AoE attack, we're just going to spam that as well. Eyes, skill 2 is her biggest AoE attack, so we're going to spam that. All those are basically going to stay in play. Debuffs here are good for 3 turns. So we can wait for Haruhime to come in on the next turn, and then just buff skills, and go to town. It's going to be really simple, really easy. So Haruhime is going to come in and do Dawn Wind. Everybody else is literally just going to spam the skill they're spamming. Eyes doesn't really seem to have an extra action, so to speak. So, yeah. We can literally just spam our attacks. It's really not a big deal. It's its Eyes buffs. We never run out of them. They're good to go. Haruhime can come in, do Dawn Wind. We'll be absolutely golden. And we'll just go to town. In fact, technically, I don't even have to do Dawn Wind with Haruhime. But, yeah, I mean, I suppose it wouldn't be a bad thing. But it's really not mandatory. And it's negating some of our damage because it gives an AoE resistance. But it's just, I'm just going to do it because that's the skill flow I built. I could build a skill flow around not having that, but I mean, we've got 3 material killers. I'm not really worried. The numbers are already going to be pretty respectable. And then, like I said, we just spam that. Now, Haruhime is going to come in and do Blowing Wind on turn 4, because you'll notice that everything is pretty much going to run out here on turn 4 with the exception of AoE damage. So we need Blowing Wind on this turn, but everybody just kind of keeps doing their thing. There's really no greater purpose or concern here. We're just kind of just spamming skills and going to town. It's a real easy fight. This fight is as straightforward as fights really get in this game. Okay, turn 5, I can do Night Storm, give ourselves a little bit of counter damage. Not that it really honestly matters, because most of our units are getting hit for zeros anyway, so it kind of doesn't make a difference. We're not taking enough damage for it to matter. Now, I could put lighter armor on my units. I probably should, so they take a little bit more damage and do a few counters. That probably could make a bit of damage in the end. But for what we're going to get out of our SA, I'm not terribly worried about it. It's something I can worry about when I actually go do my runs. But for now, for the mock battle, this is going to be a good, I guess, test of what they're capable of. So we'll go back to doing Blowing Wind on this turn. You notice that we're back to 1 turn on these. Everything's fine, though. We're just going to keep spamming our skills on turn 6, and then we're going to do a triple SA on turn 7. Now, a triple SA, we're not going to include Haruhime, because while she will do 120% strength and magic, I think Kaguya's skill is going to be a little bit more pertinent to get out. It's going to give us a little bit of extra damage. So Haruhime is going to do Blowing Wind. Aisha is going to give us 100% fire damage. Kaguya is going to take down physical resist 60%. Fire resistance is already down quite a bit, and I'm going to come in here and do Aiza's major skill. Now, I did mess up one thing here, and I've already done the damage test. I could talk about what I did here. Last turn, I did skill 2 with Eyes. I needed that to be skill 1. It will make a slight difference. I can tell you exactly what the damage is and be calculated in here at the end, but I will go rat myself out. I did mess this up, but I don't think I have time to rerun this. You can see their health. My team is probably going to come in any minute now and go nuts and wipe them out. So we got to get this video out. But, boom. Aisha does 1.3 mil. Kaguya does almost 2 mil. In the right situation, she can do 2 mil. And Haruhime. Eyes. Different blonde. No cat ears. No fox ears. Whatever. Words are hard, it's late. So, remember, she gets 60% per. She did almost 3 mil. That would be closer to 3.6, 3.7-ish. No less than 3.5 mil with that extra skill. So we have another 500,000 damage that she could have produced in here. And in the end, the numbers will reflect slightly better on our numbers here. But let's do a little comparison. So 37.2. So realistically, if we kind of click in here, so that would be 25% extra damage. So really it comes out to be, not an insurmountable number, but not a crazy number either. So 37.2 would be probably closer to 37.3 or 37.4 with the extra damage added. It's not the end of the world, but it would produce better numbers for Eyes. So it's like 1 million more, 1.5 million more damage plus 25%. So just say 38 million for the sake of argument. 38.5 million. Let's call it that. Let's call it 38.5 million and kind of go from there. Maybe I'm even overestimating that, but she does produce a bit more damage. If you do, instead of doing skill 2 with Eyes on, and I'll show it to you on this run, instead of doing that with Eyes on that turn, basically you want to do skill 1 to keep the physical resistance debuff, and I'll kind of show you the difference here. But I want to do one other thing, because when we go in here, you will notice one very important thing with Eyes. Her single target is bonkers. Absolutely bonkers. And I don't believe they resist single target damage. And that's for basically probably this reason. So we'll do skill 2 here. Skill 2, skill 2, skill 1. Start off exactly the same. Now, I don't honestly know whether or not this is going to be a better run, or whether this is going to be like 6 in one, half dozen the other. Because her AoE damage is so good, what we're going to get here might be completely negated. But we're going to go ahead and do skill 1, skill 1, skill 2, and skill 1 with Aphrodite. Remember, Aphrodite's going to buff that AoE damage. Now, I do want AoE damage buffed over single target. It is going to be better because the majority of our damage is really done in the AoE damage. But check this out, okay? So Haruhime is going to come and do Dawn Wind. Everybody else is going to do skill 1. And Eyes is going to come over here and do skill 3. She then gets 100% for each target's strength, magic, and physical resistance skill. Now, they have not buffed physical resistance, but they do have strength and magic damage. That's going to give her 200% damage on this turn. I'm going to target this golem. And let's just kind of see what kind of numbers she produces. Eyes, what you got, girl? Okay, I wasn't paying attention there. I didn't see the actual number she produced, but it should be close to right about 1,000,000 damage per hit. So, we're going to target this golem. You do want to siphon through these guys, because if you do target one, you take it out prematurely, you absolutely screw over your team. So, if you're going to do this tactic, make sure you target a different golem each time. But, skill 1, skill 1, skill 3 once again with Eyes. And we're going to have to do Blowing Wind. Remember, if we don't do Blowing Wind, remove all the debuffs. So, let's go. Okay. Once again, I didn't see the exact amount of damage she was doing. I was looking up in the process of it. But she should be doing somewhere about 900k to 1,000,000. So, finally we'll target the third golem. We'll do skill 3 there. Notice each time they buff strength and magic. So each time, basically, we're just hitting one dude, removing that, and then he's rebuffing it basically at the end of the turn. It's not the end of the world. It's pretty straightforward stuff. All right, let's pay close attention here. So yeah, right at 900k, just below 1,000,000. And I want to emphasize, Eyes is only +1. So remember, if she's max limit broken, she's getting significantly more damage. Now, here's the deal. Notice now in this turn, they have buffed physical resistance down here. I want to make sure that doesn't get removed because they do not rebuff that. So, this is what I didn't do on the last turn with Eyes, and you will see the slight difference in damage. But I don't know if the end-all be-all damage is enough to justify this action. I kind of feel like it might be 6-1, half dozen the other, but with Eyes, if I do skill 2 or skill 3, she's going to remove that buff, and that buff is not coming back. So I need to do skill 1 with her and kind of turtle for one turn. So we do not want that skill being removed. So we're going to do skill 1. Everybody else is going to do skill 1. And Haruhime is back to doing skill 3. I think normally I do Night Storm on that other turn, but it's, you know, it's not going to make too much of a difference. Let's just buff critical penetration this turn anyway, just because that's what I did last time, and that'll help the essays, but let's go ahead. I don't know if we actually need it. I don't know if it actually makes a difference. It is what it is. Okay, so now we got strength, magic, and physical resistance. To be fair, magic resistance is also there. Not a big deal. We want those. We want them to have those buffs. So let's do everybody's SA. And once again, we are going to get slightly more. And you'll see the difference in the numbers once we get right there. Because there is a slight variation in the numbers. But I don't know if it's actually going to favor single target over AoE. So let's take a look and kind of gauge this. 1.2 out of her. She should get right below 2 mil. Right below 2 mil. And nice. 3.6, 3.5-ish. Very good damage. I like that a lot. So, whatever. That is going to be what it is. And let's see if the numbers are any better or any worse, maybe. So really about the same. This one got a little tiny bit more, but I want to also emphasize that the other one probably would have produced slightly more damage than this had I done Eyes correctly and done her skill 1 at the end. Let's just do an auto run here. Let's edit the skill flow and edit eyes to do skill 1, turn 6, and just do one more. Save that skill flow. Aisha's going to do skill 1 all the way through. And Kikui's going to do skill 1 all the way through. Yeah. I think we've got that. I think we're good to go there. Ooh, what's she doing? Yeah, skill 1 there. All right, cool. So good times. So let's just do an auto run. And just see what happens here. Okay, mock battle. Oops. I don't have enough skill flow set. Let's back out and reset that skill flow. This is the mock battle. It's not going to make a difference. All right. And let's just see one more time. So we got 37.8 mil. Mock battle. Skill flow. And we'll just do a quickie auto run. Just because no matter what, it's still going to be faster than me hitting the button every single time. This shouldn't take but a minute. Maybe 90 seconds, absolute tops, to go through. Boom. And since we have Aisha now doing... Or, I'm sorry, Aisha. I'm never going to get her name right. Eyes. Why can I not get Eyes right tonight? What is going on with me? Because we have Eyes set to do skill 1 on turn 6... That is going to make all the difference in the world. We'll actually double check that here. I'll turn off auto battle on turn 6 and see what we get. Okay. Ladies. All right. And... so we are good to go there. She's going to do skill 1. Let's see what happens. I mean, what's the worst she could do? Okay. And once again, I think that I could probably be slightly more efficient with Haruhime and get a small modicum of damage out. But I don't think it's going to be the end of the world. I really don't think what Haruhime is doing here is really going to affect overall that terribly much. She's really just here for debuff replication. And that debuff replication is a big deal. Okay, 3.7. That was a nice one right there. And let's see what the end-all be-all number is. Okay? Ladies? 37.8. So literally it's exactly the same. Exactly the same. So it's really 6-1, half dozen the other. I honestly would say just do the AoE damage. It really won't make a difference. And a lot of that is because I do have that AoE buff. There might be some benefit to throwing to throwing Winnie on there and doing single target, but I really just don't think it's worth the hassle. I say just stick with the AoE damage. You'll be fine. But good numbers there. And remember, all that is from an Eyes. That's only +1. Imagine what she could do max limit broken and max ascended. I'm going to try to find out, because I want to see that. But for now, guys, Boss 2 is just, at least for me, the sweet spot. I knew it would be, but man, I cannot wait to max out that Eyes, and I'm going to do everything I can here in the next couple of days to try to do that, to try to get those final numbers out. Like, comment, and subscribe. Especially subscribe and hit that notification bell if you want to see what she's capable of at max limit break, because that should be coming at you really soon.